What if I told you that the reason your penis no longer fills with blood the way it used to has nothing to do with age itself, but with something happening inside your blood vessels right now? If your erections have become weaker, slower, or inconsistent, here is the uncomfortable but liberating truth: your body is not failing you, your circulation is. And once you understand how to restore natural blood flow, rigidity, and sexual power, everything begins to change. Most men believe that losing erection strength after 50 is a hormonal problem. Testosterone matters, yes, but it is not the main trigger. Erections are fundamentally a vascular event. When you were younger, the arteries inside your penis opened instantly, allowing blood to surge in with pressure, volume, and force. But after decades of stress, sugar, inflammation, and poor sleep, those same vessels become stiff, narrow, and slow to respond. Your penis is not resisting you, it is starving for circulation. So let me ask you something directly. When was the last time you felt that deep, full, heavy pressure inside your shaft, the kind that tells you blood is rushing exactly where it needs to go? If it has been a while, that is your body signaling a drop in nitric oxide, the molecule that commands your arteries to open. Without it, you can feel desire, you can feel arousal, but the blood never arrives with the strength needed for a hard, reliable erection. And this is where most men make a painful mistake. They assume the solution is a pill. But pills only force a temporary response, they do not fix the underlying circulation issue. The real restoration comes from waking up the endothelium, the inner lining of your blood vessels, and teaching your arteries to open naturally again. When you repair this mechanism, your penis regains volume, thickness, rigidity, and that unmistakable sensation of fullness. As a urologist, I've seen men in their 50s, 60s, and 70s reclaim sexual vitality not by chasing shortcuts, but by applying simple biological triggers that restore blood flow. And that is exactly what we are starting here, a process to rebuild your erection from the inside out, with natural, science-based methods you can apply daily. Before we continue, tell me something in the comments. Have you ever felt your erection weaken even when the desire was there? Your experience matters, and it helps other men realize they are not alone. And while you are here, like this video and check if you are already subscribed. It ensures you never miss the tools that rebuild your confidence and your natural masculine power. Now stay with me as we move forward, because what comes next will show you exactly how to activate this blood flow response the right way. If the biggest enemy of your erection were standing right in front of you, would you recognize it? Most men wouldn't, because this enemy doesn't show up suddenly. It creeps in over decades, tightening your blood vessels, weakening the pressure inside your penis, and slowly eroding the natural masculine power you used to take for granted. And the worst part is that almost every man over 50 is making the exact mistake that accelerates this decline without ever realizing it. That mistake is allowing chronic microinflammation to build up in the endothelial lining of your arteries. This inflammation doesn't cause pain, so you never notice it. But inside your penile arteries, which are the smallest arteries in your entire body, that inflammation stiffens the vessel walls, reduces elasticity, and restricts blood flow. When these vessels fail to open fully, your erection loses volume, your rigidity drops, and sensitivity begins to fade. Erections don't disappear because the penis stops working, they disappear because the pathways that deliver blood have been damaged by years of subtle pressure, stress, and biochemical wear. Think about your daily routine. Stress hormones, lack of restorative sleep, processed foods, high sugar intake, sitting for long hours, dehydration, every one of these behaviors silently contracts blood vessels. Your penis becomes the first place to suffer because it depends on fast, powerful circulation. If the arteries are stiff, the blood can't surge in quickly enough, and what used to be an instant response becomes slow, weak, or incomplete. Many men try to compensate by increasing stimulation or pushing harder mentally, but that only creates frustration. Erections are a mechanical response. If the pipes are blocked, no amount of desire or effort can override that. You may still feel mentally ready, but the body doesn't follow with the same strength. That disconnect is what leads so many men to think something is wrong with their masculinity, when in truth the issue is purely vascular. Here is the empowering part. Once you address this silent mistake, the chronic contraction and inflammation of your arteries, your erection can begin to reclaim its natural ability to fill with blood again. The body is incredibly responsive when you remove the barriers. Even men in their 60s and 70s can experience dramatic improvement when they target circulation instead of relying solely on hormones or pills. Blood flow is the foundation, and when you rebuild it, everything else begins to fall back into place. And as you continue through this process, the next step becomes essential: learning how to trigger a consistent vasodilation response early in the day, when your hormones and vascular system are most biologically primed. Because once you understand how to activate this mechanism in the morning, you set the stage for stronger erections throughout the entire day, not just during moments of intimacy. If you truly want to restore stronger erections, thicker volume, and that unmistakable surge of blood inside your penis, you need to understand something most men never learn. Your body has a specific window each morning when it is biologically primed for maximum vasodilation. This is the moment when your hormones, nervous system, and vascular pathways align, making it the perfect time to activate nitric oxide and stimulate deep blood flow into the pelvic region. Miss this window, and you spend the rest of the day fighting against your biology instead of working with it. When you wake up, your testosterone is naturally at its peak. Your parasympathetic nervous system, the rest and open system, is more active, and your blood vessels are more responsive to dilation. This is why morning erections are so common in younger men. The body is at its most receptive state. After 50, this morning response becomes weaker, not because the penis loses its capacity, but because nitric oxide production has dropped and the endothelium has lost some of its ability to relax. But here is the breakthrough: you can reactivate this morning vasodilation with a simple natural protocol used by specialists to prime circulation. It starts with hydration. Not plain water, but water combined with minerals that help your endothelial cells relax. Even something as basic as adding a small amount of magnesium-rich liquid or a pinch of unrefined salt can enhance vascular response. Then comes the crucial step: consuming nitrate-rich foods in the morning, such as a small portion of beetroot or dark leafy greens. These nitrates convert into nitric oxide through oral bacteria, giving your blood vessels the signal to open wider. The next part of the protocol involves gentle movement. A 5 to 10 minute walk or light stretching is enough to wake up the pelvic arteries and increase oxygen delivery to the tissues that control erection strength. Many men underestimate how sensitive these vessels are to even minor improvements in circulation. This simple routine can trigger a noticeable difference in penile fullness throughout the day because it reminds the arteries how to open properly. And along with circulation, there is another layer: warming the core body temperature. A warm shower in the morning expands capillaries and increases overall blood flow, especially to areas that tend to constrict with age. Combining warmth with nitrate activation and mineralized hydration creates a powerful synergy that prepares your penis for stronger, more consistent erection quality. This morning protocol is not about chasing an instant effect, it is about retraining your vascular system to behave the way it did years ago. When practiced consistently, it restores responsiveness, enhances sensitivity, and lays the groundwork for the next phase, supporting the hormonal triggers that sustain rigidity, desire, and performance throughout the day. Once your blood flow begins responding again, there is a second pillar of sexual vitality that becomes impossible to ignore: the hormonal trigger that determines how intensely you feel desire, how quickly your erection builds, and how long you can maintain rigidity. Most men assume testosterone is either high or low, as if it were a simple on-off switch. But the truth is far more subtle and far more empowering. Your body operates on rhythms, signals, and micro-adjustments that determine how effectively your hormones activate the tissues responsible for erection and performance. What many men over 50 never realize is that testosterone's real power isn't just in its total amount, but in how well your receptors respond to it. You can have normal levels on paper yet feel fatigued, uninterested, or unable to maintain firmness because your receptors have grown resistant after years of stress, inflammation, and poor sleep. When these receptors lose sensitivity, your body struggles to turn hormonal signals into physical performance. You may feel desire mentally, but your erection doesn't follow with the same strength or speed. This is why restoring hormonal responsiveness becomes just as important as restoring circulation. And it begins with eliminating the daily habits that quietly suppress testosterone function. Late-night eating, irregular sleep cycles, high cortisol from constant pressure, and nutrient deficiencies all interfere with the hormonal cascade that primes your body for intimacy. Even mild chronic stress can lower your luteinizing hormone, the key signal your brain sends to your testes, reducing your natural production without you noticing. But here is the encouraging part: correcting these triggers does not require extreme routines or complicated supplements. It often starts with something as simple as improving your sleep architecture, because testosterone is produced almost entirely during deep, restorative stages of rest. When that sleep is shallow or disrupted, your levels drop the next day, your libido flattens, and your erections lose power. Just a single week of consistently improved sleep can create noticeable changes in morning arousal and hormonal drive. Another essential factor is micronutrient support. Minerals like zinc, magnesium, and boron help convert inactive hormones into their usable form, making each dose of testosterone more effective. Healthy fats such as those found in eggs, olive oil, and avocado support the cholesterol pathways needed to produce hormones naturally. And reducing inflammation through diet, especially lowering alcohol, sugar, and processed foods, strengthens the communication between your brain and testes, making your hormonal system more precise and responsive. As these adjustments take effect, something interesting happens. Your erections begin to feel heavier, your desire becomes more spontaneous, and your stamina builds without effort. This is hormonal activation working the way it's supposed to, complementing the circulation improvements from earlier steps. But to fully reclaim your natural masculine power, there is one more layer: retraining your penis to regain sensitivity, responsiveness, and structural strength, even after years of inconsistency or frustration. As your circulation begins to open again and your hormonal system grows more responsive, there is another essential step most men overlook: restoring the sensitivity and functional strength of the penis itself. Erection quality is not just about blood entering the tissue, it's about how well that tissue can respond, expand, and sustain pressure. Years of stress, inconsistent intimacy, poor stimulation habits, or even rushed routines can dull nerve sensitivity, weaken the smooth muscle inside the corpora cavernosa, and reduce the penis's ability to trap blood effectively. The good news is that this can be retrained, just like any other part of the body. Many men unknowingly develop patterns that work against their own physiology. Fast, repetitive stimulation conditions the nerves to respond only to intense, unrealistic signals, reducing natural sensitivity during real intimacy. A tight grip, used for years without variation, compresses blood vessels and reduces oxygenation, gradually decreasing responsiveness. And long periods without strong erections allow the inner tissue to stiffen, limiting expansion and reducing the ability to maintain pressure. None of this is permanent, but it does require retraining. The process begins with slowing down. Your nervous system needs time to reactivate sensory pathways that have been overwhelmed or ignored. Slow stimulation allows the fine nerves along the shaft and glands to reawaken, sending stronger, clearer signals to the brain. This also improves the quality of arousal, helping you build erections that feel fuller and more controlled instead of forced or rushed. Gentle variation in rhythm, pressure, and motion helps rewire sensitivity, giving your penis the ability to respond to a wider range of stimulation. Alongside sensory retraining, the internal smooth muscle must also be reconditioned. Erections depend on these muscles relaxing fully to allow blood in, and contracting at just the right moment to trap blood inside. When they become weak, blood escapes too quickly, resulting in a partial or fading erection. Light vascular exercises, such as brief cycles of partial stimulation followed by relaxation, help improve this muscle's tone over time. This gentle pattern builds a stronger locking effect, so the penis holds pressure more efficiently. Another important element is warm blood flow. Heat increases elasticity, nerve conduction, and tissue oxygenation. A warm shower, warm compress, or even a few minutes of deep breathing to increase core temperature helps the penile tissue expand more fully. This creates better rigidity and improves the next erection naturally. Combined with improved nitric oxide levels from the earlier steps, this becomes a powerful method for restoring the fullness and firmness that many men assume is gone forever. As these techniques take effect, something meaningful begins to shift inside your body. Erections become easier to start, easier to maintain, and more satisfying. The sensation grows richer and more connected, and the frustration of not responding begins to fade. But to make these results consistent and long-lasting, the body needs a daily structure, a simple routine that reinforces these gains and restores your sexual vitality in a predictable, sustainable way. Now that your circulation is opening, your hormonal responsiveness is improving, and your penile sensitivity is being retrained, the next essential step is building a daily framework that makes these improvements consistent. Sexual vitality after 50 is not restored through a single technique or one quick fix. It's rebuilt through a predictable pattern of habits that reinforce blood flow, nerve activity, hormonal balance, and mental readiness. This routine doesn't need to be complicated. In fact, the simpler it is, the more powerful and sustainable it becomes. The day begins with the foundation you established earlier, morning activation. Starting your morning with mineralized hydration, light movement, and nitrate-rich foods sets your vascular system up for responsiveness. This isn't just about boosting erections in the morning, it's about programming your arteries to stay open and flexible throughout the day. When practiced daily, your endothelial tissue becomes more reactive, allowing blood to surge into the penis with greater speed and pressure whenever you feel arousal. But equally important is what you do during the rest of the day. Long periods of sitting, for example, compress the pelvic region and restrict blood flow to the very arteries responsible for erection quality. Short breaks every hour, even just standing, stretching your hips, or taking a slow walk, help keep these vessels open. Gentle hip mobility exercises improve circulation to the prostate and penile tissues, reducing tension and encouraging smoother blood flow. These small adjustments create an environment where erections become easier to initiate and maintain. Nutrition also plays a significant role in your long-term routine. Consistency with anti-inflammatory foods, such as fatty fish, olive oil, nuts, berries, and leafy greens, protects the endothelial lining from oxidative stress. Foods rich in L-arginine and L-citrulline, like watermelon and nuts, support nitric oxide production. Even small portions incorporated daily can make your vascular system more responsive. Meanwhile, reducing processed sugars, alcohol, and heavy evening meals prevents the hormonal crashes that weaken nighttime recovery and morning arousal. Another critical element is core recovery at night. Deep sleep is when testosterone rises, nitric oxide is restored, and the smooth muscle inside the penile chambers rejuvenates. Maintaining a consistent bedtime, dimming lights in the evening, and avoiding stimulants late in the day all support this regeneration process. When your body enters deep sleep reliably, your sexual system rebuilds itself with far greater precision, making your erections stronger and more stable over time. Mental tension also plays a subtle but powerful role. Chronic stress raises cortisol, which directly competes with testosterone and reduces the brain's sensitivity to sexual arousal cues. Incorporating a brief relaxation practice, whether breathing exercises, light reading, or stretching, helps reset the nervous system. When cortisol drops, erotic signals become stronger, desire becomes more natural, and erections become more reliable. By integrating these elements into your daily rhythm, you create a system where your body begins working with you, not against you. Circulation stays active, hormones stay balanced, nerves stay responsive, and arousal becomes easier to access. And once this routine becomes second nature, you set the stage for the final step, consolidating all these gains into a long-term ritual that protects your sexual vitality and strengthens your masculine power every single day. As all these changes begin working together, stronger circulation, sharper hormonal response, restored sensitivity, and a stable daily rhythm, your body enters a stage where sexual vitality can finally be consolidated. This is the moment when your erections stop feeling unpredictable and start feeling dependable again. Your confidence grows not because you are chasing a quick result, but because your physiology is responding the way it was always meant to. And the key now is to protect this progress with a simple ritual that reinforces strength, rigidity, and energy every single day. This ritual is less about intensity and more about consistency. It involves giving your body 3 signals: relaxation, readiness, and reinforcement. Relaxation comes first, because your nervous system must shift into a state where blood flow becomes easy and natural. Taking a few minutes in the evening to slow your breath, stretch lightly, or warm your body helps your vessels stay open and responsive. When you create this calm foundation, the pelvic region becomes more active, circulation improves, and your penis becomes more prepared for strong, full erections. Readiness is the second signal. This means setting up your environment and your mind so arousal can happen without pressure. A quiet space, low light, and a few moments of intention help your body transition into a state where sensual response flows instead of feeling forced. Many men underestimate how powerful this transition is. The more natural the mental shift, the more reliably the erection forms and holds. This readiness also strengthens the connection between your brain and your pelvic nerves, making each response smoother and more consistent. Reinforcement is the final step. After you've restored circulation and triggered arousal signals, you give your body a pattern to repeat. Whether that comes from gentle stimulation, slow exploration, or simply allowing your penis to stay engorged for a short period, the goal is to strengthen the vascular memory of expansion. Each time you hold that fullness, even briefly, the smooth muscle adapts, the chambers become more elastic, and your erection gains endurance. With repetition, this pattern becomes second nature, and you begin to feel that powerful sense of masculine certainty returning in a way that feels deeply authentic. Over time, this ritual becomes more than a technique. It becomes a reminder that your body is still capable, still responsive, still wired for desire and performance. And as these habits settle in, you'll notice that intimacy feels more natural, your erections feel heavier and more stable, and your confidence rises without effort. The real reward is not just the physical response, it's the sense of being fully alive in your own body again. If you've followed this journey to the end, I want to hear from you. Leave a comment below with the phrase "I'm with you until the end" so I know you're part of this process. And if this message helped you understand your body in a deeper way, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the guidance that supports your strength, your vitality, and your confidence. A like on the video also helps this message reach more men who need clarity and direction. And before you go, there's a video right here that expands on these ideas and pairs perfectly with what you learned today. If you're ready to continue strengthening your masculine power, click it and come with me into the next step.